This webinar is going to be focused on the introduction of Jamf Protect, our endpoint security solution. My name is Matt Woodruff. I'm the Worldwide Security Solutions Lead here at Jamf, focused on enablement around this new solution of Jamf Protect. Our agenda today will be covering what is Jamf Protect? How does Jamf Protect work? Including the new integration of Jamf Pro and Jamf Protect together. Let's quickly go over some of the Jamf overview of this company and why we are in this space. We do have a full product portfolio today, very focused on the Apple platform as a whole. At the top you can see we do have Jamf Connect, allowing you to connect your cloud identity provider on your devices. In the middle, we have our management frameworks that allow you to manage your endpoints. And today, our focus will be on the Jamf Protect, helping you protect your endpoints. Jamf has grown tremendously over the last 17 plus years. So we've gotten to the point where we're helping 30,000 organizations manage over 15 million Apple devices. One of the strongest positionings that we've gotten into these days is hearing from most enterprise organizations that are starting the new enterprise choice programs, allowing their employees to choose, hopefully, Macs as they continue to grow the Apple platform support. As Apple is growing in the enterprise, you'll find that security teams are needing and hearing more about visibility concerns. As we can see, they are InfoSec is managing their risk, and in turn, gaining more visibility into macOS is required. Endpoint security solutions have really had a long history, but most importantly, they've had that history on Windows. Most of the tools that exist today is understanding the Windows OS incredibly well. And information security teams can interpret those results rather quickly. Where does that leave the Mac? Now we are positioning this product to be purpose-built for Mac endpoint security. Apple devices are treated differently than Windows when it comes to OS management. Therefore, there needs to be a distinct difference for PCs with endpoint security than Mac OS. You'll find that malicious hackers and attackers are going through and focusing now on this growth of Apple devices in the enterprise. And they are building and reaching their goals of attacking this platform more and more each month and year. Therefore, is your information security team well equipped to handle and defend their macOS endpoints? This is where Jamf Protect comes into play. We're going to help the enterprise protect those endpoints by being able to complete these following points. You'll find that one of the first things that information security teams are usually tasked with doing is ensuring privacy and security policies are followed within their environment, making sure that the configuration that they've put into place is getting assessed appropriately and falls into compliance across their macOS fleet. As they get to this point of ensuring compliance, there's also the native security tools that are built into macOS, like Xprotect, Malware Removal Tool, and Gatekeeper. Jamf Protect is getting to the point of gaining an enterprise view into those tool sets and what they are doing. Then you have the last point of detecting and hunting for Mac-specific threats. For security teams, They're wanting to make sure that there is a unique way of looking at the Mac OS and identifying those threats. As they take a look at those threats and review what action is getting taken on those threats, is it going unnoticed, possibly with your current tool sets? Because they might be a Windows First focused product. Jamf Protect is coming into play with detections and hunting for macOS specific threats. Then we also get to the point of the integration with Jamf Pro, allowing full management of the Jamf Protect agent from a simplistic way. We also have designed this macOS agent to completely minimize end-user impact from a performance as well as OS update support. Then you can also utilize Jamf Pro for isolating and remediating all of the alerts and logs that you're receiving through Jamf Protect. So let's take a quick view into the Jamf Protect interface. So give me a moment as I pull out of that. We now have the Jamf Protect dashboard. As we go through, we actually have multiple dashboards showing you various views that are usually focused for upper management, your SOC team, NOC team, or incident response teams that want to have a very quick view into what computers are having alerts over the past 24 hours. Or has more alerts been collected in the past 7 days as a whole, as well as tags that have been associated to those alerts and logs from an analytical standpoint and tagged by your information security team. So this is a quick view into those detections from the agents. The next dashboard we call Insights, allowing you to have a quick view into how is the security benchmark that's getting applied to your macOS being viewed across your fleet. And as you can see here, we have multiple macOS devices that have been receiving updates about the current status of whether or not they're compliant or non-compliant upon those particular settings that you've set. The third dashboard is about Apple security. We at Jamf, as you know, are very focused on giving you the best Apple experience possible. Some of the Apple built-in security feature sets are items like X Protect, which is a signature-based tool built into every macOS device. You also have MRT, otherwise known as malware removal tool, built into macOS for the removal of those signature-based detections. And then Gatekeeper, allowing you to block unsigned or unknown apps from running in your environment. So with this dashboard, you're gaining a quick view across the fleet of Macs and what may or may not be happening with those particular built-in tool sets. You might find that additional tool sets might be required for your macOS devices in your environment. This is just giving you a very good view from your fleet side use of Macs. As you have gained your views into detections, as we've alluded to earlier with alerts and logs, how are those being reviewed is done through analytics. Jamf Protect uses analytics that are mapped to the MITRE ATT&CK framework categories. Each of those categories can be viewed here. But let's dig into one of those categories as like visibility. Let's look at something that's unique for macOS. We have custom URL handler creation. This is just to show you really quickly today what this analytic has been built out by Jamf using our security researchers and threat analysts to build out what this analytic will do, and what additional contextual items can be obtained when this analytic is run. You will find in later webinars, we'll go into further detail about how we can create and build analytics in Jamf Protect. Then as we go into alerts, you'll find that there are many alerts that could be triggered on any one of your Macs in your environment. You'll find there's Xprotect detections, MRT notifications that's happening. But let's take a look at something very quickly that might happen in a macOS device that's in your environment that is also unique to Macs. From the MITRE ATT&CK framework, it's identified as credential dumping, where a user might have found either a scripted way or manually going through gaining credential access to the shadow hash that exists in their environment. But as you can tell with this story, that the discal command or directory services command line was getting run by the root user. Additional process validation of the code signing has also been gathered by Jamf Protect at this particular day using the sudo command. Jamf Protect also will show you the process tree of how did they get to this point. So as you start at the bottom, you'll find that there is the iTerm application that was run by the J. Bradley user that went through and continued to escalate his access using root of the login command with the Z shell, gaining sudo access to run that discal command to gain access to the shadow hash. Jamf Protect continues to show you more and more information for InfoSec team, especially your incident response teams, to really gain a great view into what is this process doing and why was it identified as an alert. In the end, there's also a very quick view of the JSON object that can be sent out to another endpoint. Let's take a quick view, though, that this alert was happening on Johnny Smith's Mac. As I click on Johnny Smith's Mac, Jamf Protect will go and show you additional data about that particular Mac. Like, for example, is this particular Mac under compliance or has it failed multiple compliance items? Are there also alerts that might be centered around additional threats occurring on this particular Mac? And as you can see, there's a lot of additional information that Jamf Protect will obtain about every Mac that Jamf Protect is installed on. Inside of each analytic, you have the possibility of also creating actions that will integrate it into Jamf Pro. One additional component of what we can do today with Jamf Protect is our new integration into the endpoint security framework, where we can now go through the process of adding a prevention of processes that might occur on the Mac that you would like, after assessing the alert or log, that there is a file hash, or possibly with Jamf Protect, even diving into the signing information and blocking a particular team ID across your fleet of Jamf Protect secured Macs. That can also include signing ID. In order to get Jamf Protect deployed to your devices, you'll actually find that you might want to create an action that allows you to set up what do you want to do with the alerts and logs data. That's where actions will come into play. With this particular view, you can go and set up that the log and alert data will go to the Jamf Protect cloud or go to an HTTPS endpoint of your choosing, like a SIM. Once that action has been configured, you'll insert that and pair it up with a plan. as you dive into this particular plan, you'll find that we have custom set varying analytics for this particular rollout. As you can tell, you can either select all of the analytics to be run or even set up some custom analytics of your choosing and either selecting them or deselecting them. Once you have set up the plans, and these can be separated out maybe per division or per department based upon how there are different users in your environment. Now that you've set up your actions that have been pushed into a plan and paired up with the analytics in your plans, you can now set up a deployment. This deployment is simply an area where you're setting up what the PKG is, or the package that's going to be deployed. As you get to this point and you've set up your package, it can then be downloaded here as a simple PKG that has all of your analytics, your HTTPS endpoint data, your plans, all packaged together in one PKG that can be then deployed either using Jamf Pro or a Mac management solution that has the capability of deploying a PKG. So that's a quick view of Jamf Protect and the interface the way it is today. So let's go back to the slides where we'll dive into additional details about how exactly does Jamf Protect work once that agent is deployed. Jamf Protect today utilizes the new macOS 10.15, otherwise known as Catalina's endpoint security frameworks, to help prevent processes from running on the Mac. But it's not just the prevention that we're going with in this endpoint security solution. We're detecting across multiple frameworks varying malicious events that might be occurring on that Mac, whether it be a process or file, or maybe they're downloading a massive amount of data and putting it in a very unique location. Maybe they're grabbing screen captures at an interesting time of their employment. Or they're logging in and maybe inside of Terminal or iTerm, there's additional login commands getting scripted in the background. You might want to detect that as a potential threat in your environment. We can also review USB insertions or modifications or writes. There's also the detection of malicious key logging activities that are occurring or synthetic clicks that might be perceived as malicious. Gaining that visibility into macOS security tools helps you to continue to defend against common Mac malware. So gaining that visibility with Jamf Protect is definitely one of the goals of this product and for you in InfoSec. We also have compliance insights that we will continue to be reiterating on to gain access to the compliance state. Today, it's mapped to the CIS benchmark. There's also analytical views, as you've seen before with the demo, that we are going to continue developing new analytics over time and inserting that into Jamf Protect's environment. Now you might be asking, well, at this point, Jamf Protect is certainly a tool that can see a compliant state. We've built out analytics. Jamf is providing that. But how do we know that they have experts that know what's going on? We have a dedicated set of macOS-focused security experts in this environment. They are usually on the forefront of Mac-specific attack detections and trends. We are very active in the public discourse and making sure that we are reiterating Jamf Protect over time to help you all reduce your risk to your InfoSec team. This is a continued goal of Jamf Protect as we continue to focus on understanding macOS at the depth that is needed. How can we get that visibility, though? One of the unique ways that Jamf Protect does this is that once those frameworks have been utilized with native API calls, they are pushed through those analytics. The analytics are then introduced to Apple's native gameplay kit logic engine that allows us to evaluate those activities against potential malicious activities of IOCs that you might be used to seeing. As a result, those detections and telemetries are then passed into Jamf Protect's cloud infrastructure for further visibility and assessment. If you are utilizing a SIEM for your environment, Jamf Protect can send that telemetry and detection into your SIEM as well. Now, as we continue to look and gather these events, you'll find that there's continued threat hunting occurring, and you might find yourself wanting to deploy new analytics or modify current analytics that exist. So Jamf Protect has the built-in capability for you to complete those steps so that you can add those back into the analytics that are getting pushed out to your Macs that then can be assessed. Since we are gaining and leveraging Apple's endpoint security framework, we are able to completely prevent certain processes from running, allowing us to do this all without a kext. Please of note, currently, because of the endpoint security framework, we do not kill any current running processes. One of the things that we're really happy about today is that Jamf Pro and Jamf Protect also has a tight integration today. So as you get to that point that you have identified that there is an active threat in your environment, you've reviewed those alerts and logs, you've found that there is a remediation action that you need to take hold of, then with the integration, you can now isolate that Mac using smart computer groups, possibly even present a method to the end users that they can take action in a certain way, whether it be taking the Mac over to the IT security desk, or service desk, so that they can do some remediative action to it, or they can find ways to use Jamf self-service to clean up their Mac after the attack has happened. And additionally, with Jamf Pro integration, this might be something where you need to remotely reinstall macOS and redeploy those apps and get it back to a clean state. We have two deployment options available today with Jamf Protect. First is purely utilizing the Jamf Protect cloud environment, where, as we showed earlier, you build your analytics and configuration, obtain that PKG, deploy that out to your Macs. Then the detections, telemetry, and asset information can be pushed immediately back into Jamf Protect Cloud, where it can be viewed either from the dashboard or find more details in the alerts and logs. With this deployment option, you need no additional infrastructure in your environment. If you find that a SIEM is needed by you or your InfoSec team, there is the capability to build out that analytics and configuration into a PKG, deploy that out to your Macs, and then have those detections and telemetry sent out to your SIEM. In this type of deployment, Jamf Protect Cloud can be configured to no longer receive those detections and telemetry if you so choose. So let's do a quick recap. As we've determined with Jamf Protect, we're able to meet the new increased visibility that's needed that is macOS focused, while also having a tight integration with Jamf Pro for IT to be able to handle and remediate actions. We're going to get to the point now where if you would like to scan this QR code to get in touch with us, please make sure and scan that now. Thank you so much for listening today.